Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I am pleasantly surprised and very, very happy to say that the Los Angeles Lakers got a victory tonight against the Golden State Warriors. And LeBron James had 56 points, his Laker high. And you got to give credit. He just did not allow this team to lose. He kept us in range scoring the ball, and that's ultimately what was required because we definitely had an up and down game. As I told you guys in that first half, we were fighting, but we couldn't seem to close it out and get it, over the hump in terms of getting that lead. That second half, he just caught fire, and we came out of the locker room much better, and eventually just blitzed them in the fourth quarter. I think what I saw tonight, besides the Lakers just really having a great performance by LeBron, was what I think is somewhat of a changing of the guard in Golden State. And I know this is not going to be the story of the night, but you know how my brain is. I'm a bit different. The biggest thing I took away from this game was how frustrated Klay Thompson looked and how great Jordan Poole and Moses Moody looked. And I just say to myself, I don't know that Klay Thompson's going to finish his career in Golden State because if you and my mantra is always go young anyway, so I'm probably not the right person to even talk about this. But if it's my money, I'm definitely gonna give that to those two players and let Klay Thompson walk. And I'll tell you why. It's not because I've lost all the faith in him. It's just because at this point, when you look at what teams are going through with bad contracts, I look at Klay Thompson and I say, brother, as great as you've been, I just don't know if your upside is going to match what your price tag's about to be. Because they still gonna have to pay him like he's Klay Thompson. You still got to pay him because the markets and his skill set shooting the ball dictates that he's gonna demand max dollar. And I just think that money is better utilized, going to inexpensive players, especially when you have one like Jordan Poole, who looked just spectacular tonight in limited minutes. And I think one of the reasons why they didn't win, besides the fact that we really did play well, was the fact that they got away from him. They got away from Jordan Poole and tried to go in different areas. And Klay didn't get a lot of playing time because he was going back and forth trying to deal with his injuries and his, he's just having a frustrating night. But you could clearly see where that was a real thing. So that's where my head took me. But I'm a bit different. I'm sure all of Laker Nation is extremely pleased about this win. I am as well. It was enjoyable to watch, and I got a lot from the players that I wanted to see play well. Austin Reeves and Stanley Johnson, Carmelo Anthony, Malik Monk. Just they all contributed greatly to what we were able to do tonight. I really like what I saw defensively from this team in spurts. Obviously, we have the great hole in the middle, so that's just going to be a part of it. But as I was saying in that halftime video, guys are getting used to being in small ball situations. They're getting better at rebounding. They're getting better at boxing out. They're thinking bigger. Slowly but surely, you're seeing progression within these circumstances, and I think that's what we saw a lot of tonight. Granted, I don't think we could have won this game if LeBron didn't score all 53 of those, 56, 54, whatever it was, 54, I believe, of those points. But nevertheless, you saw the fact that we were able to get stops down the stretch was really helpful, and guys rebounding the ball, as I said, and just playing outside themselves was really helpful. I thought that DJ Augustin had a little bit of a struggle tonight, but that's understandable. He's still new. At the end of the day, he hit a big three and made some good assists out there, so it helped that it ended on a high note. But I think the majority of the time he was put in situations that didn't really fit him. Kind of being small ball lineups. He being the shortest guy out there just left him being a real liability defensively. But he still held his own, and I'm encouraged by what I saw from him. I wish we would have saw Winyan Gabriel, but that was not the case tonight. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony big rebounds, big shots. 20 points. All of them were needed. Had a big rebound on the end and a putback. Stuff like that was so important in this basketball game tonight. 50-50 balls, getting in the fast break, easy buckets. We saw more of that than we normally do. Um, I think what you're seeing is guys practicing and it translating to basketball. Getting a chance to do more practice than they did in the first half. Now, in that same breath, sometimes practice, what it can do is give you things to think about. And sometimes thinking could be bad for you when you're, playing a reactionary sport like basketball. And I think what we're also seeing is guys thinking a little too much, particularly in the fast break. Um, Kind of some of those same struggles that we had from the first game, or rather the last game, translated over to this game in the first quarter with us messing up in the fast break a couple of times. We had some key turnovers down the stretch that put the game in jeopardy as well that are noteworthy. LeBron James turned it over. Russell Westbrook turned it over. Carmelo Anthony got called for a foul that I didn't really agree with. All in all, it was 3 turnovers in a row that put us in a position where that game wasn't necessarily going to go in our way. But I tell you, it was helpful that the Golden State Warriors just went cold down the stretch of that game. They really had a cold fourth quarter. Every shot they attempted just seemed to go flat down the stretch, and we were able to take advantage. Good defensive sequences on top of that really helped us a lot. I love what I saw from LeBron James on the boards. It wasn't just him scoring; it was also him, doing the things that we needed him to do, picking up pace and stuff like that. Russell Westbrook, I think, if I'm not mistaken, had 20 points. Might have gotten his point total mixed up with Carmelo Anthony's, but they both played fairly well for themselves this evening. You still saw missed layups and, of course, that turnover I just mentioned. But all in all, this is one of the better games that you see out of Russell Westbrook, where he just wasn't a problem tonight, and his scoring punch was helpful. So, you saw a lot of good, man, a whole lot of good. As I said in that halftime video, Austin Reeves' 3-point shot is slowly but surely starting to fall. We like that. Malik Monk was just all over the place. You really appreciated the 3 steals that Austin had, and I think Stanley had 3 as well. So just defensive stats. That's what really stood out for me. Um, Guys are really getting involved as Bron is scoring. Guys were feeding off of that energy and off of that momentum, and really pitching in and doing the other things very well to help seal the deal against a Golden State team that's really struggling right now. As I said in the pregame video, I really think that the Golden State Warriors are vulnerable right now. They kind of peaked early in the season when Draymond went down, and the fact that Wiseman kind of had, I guess, what I would consider a setback. I'm not really sure what's taking so long for him to come back, but it became a situation where then you couple that with Klay Thompson being worked back into the equation and not necessarily being 100% fit just yet. That all in and of itself makes for a very scrambled type of rotation situation. Couple that with guys in slumps. I'm wondering if the Golden State Warriors are one of those teams to be a candidate for getting upset. I'm starting to sense something that may lend itself to that being the case. Now, granted, they are one of the deepest teams in basketball, but that can also, make for a lot of confusion in terms of who you should play and when. So, Steve Kerr has a tough task ahead of trying to, round this team up, get them healthy, and get them ready for the playoffs. But I tell you, a loss like tonight does not help. When you talk about body language, Klay Thompson, they're gonna have to really, get him right physically and mentally, because you could clearly see his whole energy was so evident. The struggles and the frustrations of him trying to come back from this injury, and having, having the struggles be as they are. I would tell him though, it is a tough situation, because at the end of the day, you're Splash Brother and you guys are a championship caliber team right now. But just looking forward, I'd have to admit Jordan Poole, and he's that dude. He's the one you gotta be aware of if you're Klay Thompson, in terms of that's the guy. He's coming, man. So Golden State has a tough task ahead. It's a good problem to have for now, but they're gonna have to pay everybody, man. And the salary cap doesn't allow you to do that, so it's gonna get interesting over there. But good win for my team, man. That's what it's about. The Lakers get the victory. We're celebrating like we won a championship, and that's part of it for me. We talked about this and the mentality of the Lakers and what we settle for and what we're excited about. Make no mistake about it. I'm very happy that we won, but I'm not with the throwing water on LeBron James after a game like this. I granted 54 points or whatever it was. It's amazing. We're very happy we won, but we've lost. What is it now? 8 out of 10 games, I guess, or 7 out of 10 games it would be. We ain't got nothing to be really celebrating. These are the times where you get back in the lab and you get focused. You don't get satisfied. You look at what you did right tonight and you try to carry it forward into San Antonio on the next game. It's no time to relax. This is not a situation where you're sitting up here, popping bottles and feeling good about yourself and flexing and all that stupid crap. This ain't the time for that. You're still a bad team. You won a good game. You got a lot that you could build from this situation, but you can also find yourself taking steps backwards and falling down. I look at, and this is an entirely different conversation, but I look at James Harden, and the thing about him that I notice is he gets really, 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 really high and really, 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 really low. If you know what I'm trying to say, in terms of like his moods, like when he's happy, he's really happy. He just got to Philadelphia, he's super happy. But when things go bad, he's like super low, and I think that's the problem a lot of times. I think our team, the Lakers, have that issue where with this team we get really, 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 really high. When the momentum's high, we're jumping around. It don't have to really be much, but we're celebrating. Even we're down by 30. If there's a momentum play, somebody dunked on somebody, we're flexing. And then when we're losing, it's like guys can't pick their heads up off the floor. You know what I mean? Losing the momentum, losing the desire to fight. You know what I mean? It's just real lows, and I think that's one of the things that championship teams don't have. You understand the moment that you're in needs to be matched with a certain level of balance, and with that comes an understanding that things could go right, things could go wrong, but either way, you're going to approach it with the same intensity because that's what's required of you. And I just don't see that in our team at all. It's just a lot of super highs. Not tonight, they're jumping around like they won a championship. In a game like the last game we had, the Clippers, we were, so ridiculously pathetic. People were getting booed off the floor. I mean, we need to get to a point where we understand that it's not good to be that imbalanced. It's time to put together and structure ourselves to be more even keel as a team. And I ain't saying going full Kobe and be mad after a win in a situation, but we do need to not appear so weak-minded, in my opinion, as to be so excited after a win when you still 7 games below 500. So while it is a great win, I'm happy, but I understand the difference between understanding winning is a habit and being a team that's just happy to win. And right now we're just a team that's happy to win, and that's not who we want to be. So, do I expect to win the next game? Absolutely not. I don't. But I'm very happy that the Lakers were able to get a victory tonight, and a good team would carry the momentum from this game to the next. So if they want to morph into a good team, they need to find that trait and put it forth. Now, on the brighter note, I think LeBron James showed what it is that I've been talking about: an appreciation for playing the game, appreciation for putting on our uniform, but really not even that, any uniform in the league, period, right now. To know that your career is reaching a point where it's probably going to be in its twilight hour very soon. Even if you're on a bad team, there's still appreciation to be had. There's still a moment to capture. There's still a dream to live. And sometimes when the things are so bad, you forget that. You start struggling on the basketball court. You stop seeing it as a privilege. And I think that tonight what we saw was LeBron James recapture his appreciation. You know what I mean, for just being a NBA pro. I think these last couple games coming to work hasn't been fun for a lot of guys, and you can see it in the body language. You know, you can see it in the way they approach. But at the end of the day, they're still making millions for doing something they love to do, and it doesn't last forever. So anytime you get a chance to be on that court, you got to see that as an opportunity to live that dream. And I think LeBron James showed us that tonight, and that's what I want to see out of him every night. That's what I want to see out of all these players every night. So that's what I want to say about that. Game ball, of course, goes to the king, man. Ain't no question about that. Steph Curry had a strong 30 points. Who else? Jonathan Kuminga looked really good out there. That dude, he's so explosive, man. I can't even tell you how good that kid's going to be 3 years from now, especially since he has no hesitation in his three-point shot. We kept leaving him open, and he kept knocking it down. We have got to respect Jonathan Kuminga going forward. It's a three-point threat. He is not a stiff by any stretch of the imagination. He could take you off the dribble. He has a cool three-point set shot as a rookie. Understand, he is not the guy to leave open. Do not take him lightly. That's something that I just want to say right here and now, because I see where this is headed. They treating Jonathan Kuminga like he can't shoot the ball. And while I don't think he should be considered a Steph Curry, Jordan Poole shooting type of dude, I know better than to leave him open. I know that. So I understand he'll drive past you and dunk on your head, but don't think for a second that you can play off him that far. No. So that was one thing that stood out as well. I thought something really interesting happened tonight in the third quarter. Into the third quarter, the lineup that the coach put on the floor, I thought was one of the worst lineups I've ever seen in my entire life, and it kept the game close. So, I'll just tell you the truth. He put Avery Bradley, Russell Westbrook, THT. I think it was DJ Augustine, and it might have been. I think that might have been Stanley Johnson on the floor at the same time. It might have been Stanley, it might have been someone else, but that was the five. And I just said, man, nobody on this floor is playing in position whatsoever, except for DJ Augustin at the point guard. And we were so small going up against their players that I felt like we weren't going to have any success. But fortunately enough, they just kept missing shots with that lineup on the floor, so it made it look as if it wasn't that bad. So, you know, he quickly made a substitution and got us bigger before any damage was done. But I stand by the fact that I think that was one of the worst but one of the worst lineups I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, literally, it was horrible. But, you know, what can I say, man? If it worked, it worked. So, yeah, man, that's the game right there. Bron James went off, career high with the Lakers, and I was happy to see it, man. That was an entertaining game to see, you know. We haven't been entertained in a while as Laker fans, and the fact of the matter was, this was an ABC game. You had Matthew Stafford in the house. You know, it was time for LeBron James to put forth a real LeBron James type of game. All this talk about how he didn't want to be a Laker or want to go play with his kid, all the noise, you know. But at the end of the day, this is still one of the GOATs. And every once in a while, you need to remind him. And I think that's what he did tonight. So with Steph Curry on the floor, and it was mentioned they've played 22 finals games as opponents with one another, which I think is just astonishing dominance that they've both displayed in their respective corners. You just got to understand that when they come together, anything's possible. And so that's what we saw tonight, another special Bron Steph Curry extravaganza. So that's what it was, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.